All right, what's going on? 3 o'clock chat here. Tom Dundon has been confirmed now officially in control of the Portland Trail Blazers as new owner. In a statement released today, he said, "Today is the beginning of a new chapter for the Portland Trail Blazers as we build on the legacy of this storied franchise. On behalf of our ownership group, my commitment to this tremendous fan base is that we're going to be relentless towards building a team that can compete at the highest level every single season." Dundon expected to be on the NBC broadcast tonight, and there's going to be a full press conference Thursday at 3 o'clock from Moda Center. You can hear it live right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620, as we kick off the Rip City Drive. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday today at 5. Listen to me for your chance to win. Travis Demers is going to join me live from Los Angeles at 3:20. Blazers and Clippers tip-off tonight at 8. Chris Burkhart's got game day at 6. Portland right now a game and a half behind L.A. for 8th in the Western Conference, and they play the Clippers twice in their final 6 games.
Live from the Coors Light Studios, it's time for the Rip City Drive, hosted by the crazy and often irrational Chad Doing. Coors Light, mountain cold refreshment. Choose chill.
Does he look like he's going to kind of rip drive it?
That's it. Streamers are about to come down. Lakers with a win, 49-26.
The look in by Blackbird. Here we go, the stretch of the right-handers. 2-1 to Cal. Swinging a shot over the bag at first. Fair ball. The Mariners win it. Here comes Leo Rivas to score. Cal Raleigh with a walk-off single. And the Mariners beat the Yankees tonight. 2-1 in the bottom of the 9th inning.
Strap in. The Rip City Drive with Chad Doing starts now.
All right, what's going on, my friends? I appreciate your time. Rip City Drive, 3 to 6 today because of the late tip time down in L.A. with the Blazers and Clippers. And as I mentioned yesterday, of all the games on the Trailblazers schedule, tonight is the biggest game of the year. They have 2 games in their final 6 against the Clippers, and right now they're a game and a half behind L.A. for 8th in the Western Conference. So if Portland has any hope of getting to 8th and playing in the 7-8 play-in game, they're going to have to win both games, and that starts tonight with a game that will tip off at 8 o'clock from Intuit Dome. And right now the Clippers are about a 5-point favorite. But the big story, of course, is that the Trailblazers officially have a brand-new owner of their franchise, and that would be Tom Dundon, who is officially confirmed by the NBA owners, and he has put out a statement today and a message to you Trailblazer fans. And it simply read, "Today is the beginning of a new chapter for the Portland Trailblazers as we build on the legacy of this storied franchise. On behalf of our ownership group, my commitment to this tremendous fan base is that we're going to be relentless towards building a team that can compete at the highest level every single season." I think that's well said. I'm excited about this change because of the things that you want as a fan. Everything I've picked up on in regard to Dundon with his approach and what he wants to do, I think it could point to good things coming in the future for the Trailblazers and their fans and all of us here in Rip City. Why? Because this guy, according to all reports, is ultra competitive. He wants to win. He's got a desire to do so. And if you look at his track record in Carolina with the Hurricanes, they have had great success on the ice since he took over. And this is a guy who's going to want to be competitive. He's going to want this team to compete, and I don't think he's got an eye for tanking or those type of seasons where you lose with the intent to get better. But most importantly, he's a guy that wants to win. And I mentioned this yesterday. I've got a very simple definition for what I'm looking for in an owner, very similar to Paul Allen. Do you want to win? What are you doing to make that happen? And are you willing to utilize your resources and spend to be able to put yourself in a position to do that? I think those answers for Tom Dundon are yes. And if that's what my owner is going to do as a fan, I can get behind that all day. I also mentioned this. The hard part for me is that because I work and I'm around the team so often, I've got a lot of friends and I know a lot of good people that work within the organization. And so the hard part right now, anytime you got a new owner coming in, a new boss, there are potential changes that are going to happen with jobs. And so I know people right now that are concerned about their future because they don't know the moves that are going to be made yet with Tom Dundon taking over. And so my heart goes out to all of those people because the Trailblazers have a lot of great people that work within the organization. And so some of those people are concerned about the future, and I understand that. But if you're a fan of the team and you want to see the team win, I think Tom Dundon is a guy that's going to do everything he can to make that happen. Now, for me, the one thing I do know about ownership as a, well, let's just put it this way, a trust that's running a team like we've had over the last several seasons with Jody Allen. when Paul Allen passed away. It's not ideal for a team to be run by a trust. I'm a Bronco fan. I love the Broncos. When Pat Bowlen passed away, the team was run by a trust for multiple years until they located their new owner with the Walton Group. And it's not ideal because you don't have people who are in place long-term that are focused on the bottom line. And so now the Blazers have that with Tom Dundon. He will come in, and we'll see what he's all about. But like I said, regardless of the changes that he may or may not make, we'll have to give him some time to see if he's got the right formula to make it happen. And that's really what it comes down to for the Trailblazers. Do you want to win? Are you willing to utilize your resources to make that happen? And if you can answer yes to both of those, then I'm going to jump on board. Now, a couple of particulars. I think he's going to be a part of the broadcast tonight, which is going to be on NBC with this big game against the Clippers. And then he's going to have a full press conference Thursday here from Moda Center before the game against the Pelicans. And that's going to be good because in a full press conference, he'll answer a lot of questions. He'll be ask a lot of different things about the team, about the improvements to Moda Center. And I think more importantly, we'll be able to hear from him himself on why he got into the NBA, why he chose the Portland Trailblazers, and what his desire is, what he's looking to accomplish. We'll start to get an idea of what he's all about. And I've had a lot of people try to tell me what he's all about over the last several months, but, I would prefer to hear from Dundon himself, and then we can start to move forward. So it is an exciting chapter. Now, no disrespect, of course, to Paul Allen. I love Paul Allen. He was the ultimate owner because he loved the team. He cared a lot about the Trailblazers. He loved the game of basketball, and he wanted to win badly. And he spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to make it happen. And he almost got over the hump. He did not win a championship with the Blazers. He did with the Seahawks, but you knew where his heart was at. And like I said before, I don't expect an owner to bat 1,000. You're going to make some missteps along the way, but if your heart's in the right place and you're constantly committed to trying to put the team in a position to win, that's all that matters to me. So if you want to jump on board and you've got thoughts on Tom Dundon officially taking over for the Trailblazers, your telephone number to hit me up is 503-248-0620, 503-248-0620. I want to know what you think about the ownership change. What are you expecting from Dundon? What are you hoping from Dundon? What are some changes that you would like to see under the new ownership group with Tom Dundon? Let me know. I mean, you've been a part of this area for a long time like I have. So you've got insights. You spend money on tickets. You go to the games. You support the team. What do you want? 503-248-0620. Travis Demers is going to join me here in about 12 minutes from L.A. He's at Intuit Dome for the game tonight. We'll get his take on the matchup and really talk about what the Clippers are doing well. Remember, tonight, the Clippers are a couple of games over 500, but they're much better than that. They started the year, I don't know how, 6-21. Awful. And since that point, they're 33-15. So over the last couple of months, they're playing as well as anybody in the NBA. So I think this is a really tough matchup for the Blazers. The Clippers, with Kawhi Leonard engaged and 100% healthy, a very difficult matchup because he's so good. And so the Blazers are going to have to be ready to go. But Travis Demers will be there to preview the action. We'll talk with him and get his take. But on Thursday, right when the Rip City Drive starts at 3, that's when the Dundon press conference will kick off. And then we'll have a chance to hear from him. And we're going to carry it live. Sean Hyken will be covering the press conference. And then on Thursday at 4:20, he'll join me up in the Pines at Section 330, and we'll get his take on the press conference and what Dundon had to say. And for me personally, my biggest interest and concern is around the radio broadcasts. One thing he did in Carolina was move and make the television broadcast a simulcast over the radio. Obviously, I'm a radio guy. I'm not a fan of that. So that's my own personal concern, but there are much bigger fish to fry than just that. What does he think about the work from the state, the city, and the county on getting the funding necessary for the improvements to Moda Center? What does he think about the area? What can be done to help revitalize the Rose Quarter to make it a destination spot? I think that's a critical question. What does he think about Tiago Splitter? What about the front office with Joe Cronin and Mike Schmitz? What about the roster? What does he think about Dame? There's so many different things that I want to know in terms of what's going through his mind. And to find out more of what, he sees about everything. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. So I appreciate your time. It's an exciting time. It's also a time of uncertainty because we're going to have to make an adjustment, but Tom Dundon is officially in control. And, I frankly, it could be exactly what the doctor ordered. Having an aggressive owner who's young that's coming in that wants to win, somebody that will really try to, put this team in a position to compete for a championship. I think sometimes when companies are run and owned by the same group, it's possible that there could be some malaise that sets in. But you get someone that comes in that's young and aggressive and wants to win, that shake things up a little bit, that could be very good, for the team, for the franchise as we continue to move forward. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Tony in Portland has chimed in. He says, Chad, I'm worried about Travis's job. I think you mentioned that they do a simulcast, TV and radio, although perhaps the boys will be back in town. Travis and Chad in the afternoon reunion wouldn't suck. So there you have it. I'm talking about it right now. He's like, oh, you're talking about it right now. But yeah, that's my concern. I love radio, and I grew up listening to games on the radio and having that connection to my teams through the radio broadcast. It is something I value a great deal. But we're in a world today where people consume games in so many different ways, through Twitter, through social media, through YouTube, through radio, through television. There's so many different ways to access games, with streaming and all the different outlets. But there you have it. Tom Dundon is now officially in place. He'll probably be on the broadcast tonight, or at least that's the rumblings I heard from the TV people trying to get everything set up to where they can make that happen. Sean Highkin is in L.A. for the game tonight. He told me he has reached out to Dundon. There's a chance that Sean Highkin will be able to speak with Tom Dundon tonight as well. But he will do the full press conference coming up before the game on Thursday. As for the game tonight, it doesn't get any bigger than this. The Blazers have a chance to jump to 8, but I think it's going to take 2 wins over the Clippers. Clippers have 7 games remaining, the Blazers 6. 2 of those 6 games are against the Clippers tonight in L.A. and on April 10th at Moda Center. And if you want to get to 8, Portland's going to have to win both games. But they're going to have to do so tonight without Jeremy Grant and without Shaedon Sharpe. It's going to require a team effort. And I would say the basic keys, similar to what we saw on Sunday, and it's really hard to judge the Blazers on Sunday's game. They won by 35, but they were playing the Wizards, who are just, they're hot garbage. But the Blazers limited turnovers in that game, and they were much better defensively from the start. And that's what it's going to take tonight, a good defensive effort, limiting turnovers so the Clippers don't get easy buckets, and then Donovan Clingan's going to have to rebound the heck out of the basketball. Rebound, second chance points, capitalize, and make sure you make that happen. It's pretty simple, right? Defense, rebounding, limiting turnovers. And if they do that, they're going to be in a position to get the win. But like I mentioned about the Clippers, opened the season 6-21. Since that point, 33-15. That is one heck of a turnaround. And I'm looking at a monitor right now of an Intuit Dome. That looks like a pretty sweet place. Have not been there yet. All right, Travis Demers is going to preview the game coming up next. I appreciate your time. We have Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday at 5, your chance to win tickets to an upcoming game. All you have to do is listen to me for a chance to win. I'm with Michael Shacker. I'm live from Studio C. Burkhart will have game day at 6, and I'll have the network pregame show at 7, all right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Seconds to go. Got to cut and run through the ball. He'll do better than this guy.
Get it into Boozer, back for Sarr, ahead, Boozer, that ball deflected and stolen by Mullins. Caravan, 2 seconds, Mullins tosses it up. Oh! It's good! We're point 3! UConn goes in front!
You got to love it. Let's go to L.A. right now and bring on the voice of your Portland Trailblazers, the one, the only Travis Demers. And Trav, how great was that shot and that ending with UConn at Duke?
Look, Chad, you know how I feel about UConn, okay? And it's not pleasant. You also know how I feel about Duke, which is equally not as pleasant. So I focus more on the Duke losing than the UConn winning. But if you take any of that out, right, and you just look at it objectively as a sports fan, as a basketball fan, it was amazing. Forget about breaking down what should have happened, what did happen. Forget about any of that stuff and just think about the magic of the moment, right? And, we go back to Kristen Leitner's shot in 92. If that was on social media, how many things would have been broken down about that, and we would have looked at it completely different than we do right now? Or what if this had happened? Or the clock didn't start on time. Nobody cares, man. It was one of the greatest plays in sports history, and I think you look at that play right there and you break it down to just the moment and everything in that moment. It was awesome.
It really was. I was talking about this with Dick out yesterday. I still put Leitner's shot number 1 on my list, but that play right there with the great shot by Mullins, that's number 2 in terms of all-time tournament moments I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah, and I think because of the gravity of what was at stake, right? I mean, look, Chris Jenkins' shot to win the national championship for Villanova, it's hard to top that, right? It's hard to top that as the greatest shot in college basketball history. Because it was at the buzzer. It was, it was kind of a heave. Yeah, Keith Smart's shot, sure. Mario Chalmers' shot. There are a number of shots that have been in big plays to win national championships. But at the buzzer like that, you're not going to find many. I mean, I don't know. Is Chris Jenkins' shot the only one? There were plenty of buzzer beaters that were awesome. I mean, we all remember Bryce Drew and a lot, but those were like first-round games, second-round games. There was which Harrison brother was it? I think Andrew Harrison. One of the Harrison brothers in Kentucky hit 3 straight buzzer beaters in the tournament for Kentucky. Those things are awesome. But the gravity of the moment, to beat Duke after being down by 20 plus, to get to the Final Four, I mean, that's hard to top.
All right. Now be patient with me here, Travis. I need 1 minute and 12 seconds of your time. For those of you who missed it, one of my favorite things ever on radio happened on Sunday during the Blazer broadcast. Take a listen to this. Lawson Demers. How old is Lawson, Travis?
Lawson is 5.
Lawson Demers is 5 years old, and he made his radio debut with me and Trav on Sunday. Take a listen to this.
Maybe high, or isn't his favorite player? Didn't he play for UConn?
Yeah. Can I, Lawson? Can I ask you who your favorite player is? Can you tell me who your favorite player is?
Of who?
For the Blazers. Who's your? Who is it?
Donovan Clingan.
Yeah, Donovan Clingan. Where did he play college basketball?
I don't know.
Well, who did you pick to win the bracket, March Madness? Was it?
UConn.
Yeah, UConn. Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, Lawson, I just want to tell you that, one, you're a handsome young boy. I'm proud of you, and I got to be a part of your first spoken word on the radio, so you're awesome.
You said thanks?
Thanks.
Wait, what flavor Dippin' Dots are you eating?
Cookies and cream.
Yeah, that's some good stuff right there, man.
That sounds good. Can you bring those over so I can have a bite? He just laughed at me like that ain't happening, bro. Yep. Thank you, Travis.
All right, Chad.
Thank you, Lawson. You're the man. Can you say Rip City?
Rip City.
Yeah. All right, we'll keep things rolling.
Hey, Trav, that was awesome, man. I didn't think we were going to be able to get him to talk, and yet he did just fine.
I didn't think so either. Yeah, he had the headset on to listen, and I told him he didn't have to talk. And then he was dead set on not talking. But once you loosened him up a little bit, he was good to go.
That makes me so happy to see your son out there and Lawson, I can't believe how quick they're growing. Both your boys. It's like they're growing so fast, brother.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 8 in May, and Lawson's going to be 6 in June. It's going way too fast.
All right, let's talk about this game tonight. The Clippers, they're just a couple of games over 500, but they're not that's not who they are, because they opened the season at 6-21. But Trav, 33 and 15 cents. They're playing as well as almost anybody in the league.
Yeah, they are. They're playing really good basketball. This might sound depressing, Chad, but you know what the Blazers' record against the Clippers is since they got Kawhi Leonard?
I don't want to know, but tell me.
2-20, and 1-11 on the road.
Jeez.
They have not had success against the Clippers at all in the last 7 seasons. So to be in a situation right now where you have to beat them twice in the next 2 weeks in order to pass them in the standings, that's hard. It's hard because you haven't beaten them.
Yeah, so when you look at the numbers, tell me what are they doing really well that's going to be a challenge tonight?
Well, they don't take a lot of threes. This version of the Clippers doesn't take a lot of threes. They don't move the ball a lot. They play a lot of isolation. Kawhi's putting up 31-plus at home. Darius Garland has made the third most threes in the league in the month of March. Benedict Mathurin off the bench has been unbelievable. They're not taking threes. They're taking mid-range shots. Yeah, they're getting to the rim, and they're playing good defense. They'll turn you over a little bit, but they slow the pace way down. They kind of lull you to sleep and let their half-court guys do their thing. And that's hard to defend because nobody in this day and age really does that, and nobody in this day and age really has a lot of success with it, right? There's not a lot of off-ball movement. But now, it's a different team without James Harden because you knew what James Harden was going to do, right? He was just going to pound the rock, drive, step back at the end of the shot clock, those kinds of things. That's not what Garland and Mathurin do. So to move on from where they went with the direction of James Harden and now bringing those guys who are going to be the future of this franchise, it's a lot harder to defend Kawhi because he's not the only one, or it's not just him and James Harden anymore. There's so much that those three guys can do together, and then they have role players who can do a lot. Obviously, Brook Lopez, put up 9 threes, made 9 threes the last time these two teams met. They're a dangerous team.
How do you explain their massive turnaround? Was there a key moment? Like, what happened? What clicked for them? Was it the trade? Was it the move? What happened?
Well, the trade and all that stuff happened, kind of in the middle of all this, right? And I think some of it was health. There was obviously some issues, with the whole Chris Paul thing at the beginning of the year, and then they brought in Bradley Beal and, trying to figure out what they were going to be because, they had a really successful Norman Powell was really successful for them, and they moved on from him. They replaced him basically with, Bradley Beal and Chris Paul. And they just hadn't figured it out, and they were just going through the motions. The team that we saw early in the year, they were just kind of going through the motions. So I think they just kind of woke up, and that really does play a big part of it. Because when they're sitting there at 6-21 with this team of James Harden and Kawhi Leonard, who hadn't played a ton at that point, Bradley Beal, Chris Paul, and you got 3 Hall of Famers and 1 who could be on a team that's terrible, and just waking up and playing better defense and just kind of putting all those things together. I think they realized they couldn't sleepwalk through games and win them because of who they were, and that really changed things about 30 games into the year.
I'm excited to see what Tiago Splitter's going to do with the lineup tonight. Scoot Henderson got the start on Sunday and played really well with 21 points and 7 assists. After the game, Coach was asked about the lineup, and he said, hey, we'll take a look at things and move on from there. I just wonder if tonight we maybe we'll see Sidi Sissoko or somebody else in the lineup based on the Clippers' size and the way they play. Do you have any indication or idea of what might work best there, Trav?
I don't, but one thing that you have to do is match the bench, right? Because the Clippers, since the trade deadline, they're top 5 in the league in bench points, right? Because one of the reasons for that is Benedict Mathurin. He put up 28 the other night. He's been really good. Their bench, it's not all on the starting 5 anymore like it used to be, and they're more complete. So does it make sense to have Scoot come off the bench tonight and give you a little punch coming off the bench offensively? It does. Does that mean that it's going to be Speedy or Chris Murray in the starting lineup tonight, give you a little more, defense, a little more energy? Maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Scoot come off the bench tonight to kind of match what the Clippers can do off the bench. And if that's the reason for it, that makes a lot of sense. So I really don't have any indication of it. It sure would be nice to be able to have Jeremy Grant or Shaedon Sharpe available, but they're not. So you got to go with what you got.
That makes a lot of sense. We're talking to Travis Demers. He's in L.A. He'll be on the call tonight for the Trailblazers and Clippers from Intuit Dome in Los Angeles. How good of a home court advantage is Intuit Dome? I can't wait to get there, but what's it like there?
It's a unique arena because you have, that big wall, right? I don't know that it is a home court advantage yet. I think home court advantage is dictated by a lot of things, right? It's dictated by the team that's playing there, obviously the fan base. The arena has something to do with it. This is the first time that the Clippers have had an arena that they can call their own, ever, right?
Ever.
So that's their home. That's their building. And it's a really nice building. Yesterday on the way in, it's the first time really that I can remember flying into L.A. and seeing it from the air and seeing SoFi and seeing Dodger Stadium. For some reason, I don't really have much memory. I think it's because I usually sit on the other side of the plane. But, seeing it from the air, it's a really cool building. But how much fan support is there for the Clippers? Certainly more than there was 10 years ago or 20 years ago. But really, I think a lot of it is the team dictates that. Moda Center in Portland has a unique home court advantage because, it's the only team that's been around. And in L.A., you have so many choices: Lakers, Clippers, Kings, Ducks, Dodgers, Angels, plus football. So there's so many choices that, it's not like you have one team bringing everybody together. And I think there's always been something that's kind of hindered the Clippers fan base a bit, but this is as good of a Clippers fan base as there's ever been.
Hey Travis, the Blazers had some promising signs in the game on Sunday against the Wizards. They limited turnovers, and their defensive execution and energy from the start of the game was much better. And I think that I would love to see some of that tonight. How much can we take away from that performance on Sunday based on who they were playing?
I don't think any. To be honest. You talk about limiting turnovers, Chad. They still gave up 19 points off of turnovers, which is
they can't do that tonight.
No, 19 points off of turnovers is more than they average, and it would be the most in the NBA. So we talk about them limiting turnovers, and they've limited turnovers compared to what they've been doing, but it's still not good enough. And the Clippers can turn you over, and the way that they turn you over is in live ball situations. They're not in the top 10 in turnovers forced, but they are in the top 10 in points off of turnovers. So you have to limit when those turnovers happen. You can't let that be a thing. If you lose the battle of points off of turnovers by double digits, you're not going to win the game. You got to rebound. You got to hit threes. And it's easy to say, don't turn the ball over, make your shots, and get rebounds. Easy. Well, it's easy to say, but it's less easier to execute. And all of these things matter, right? Because the Clippers are an efficient team right now, and you have to be efficient. The Clippers have the best free throw percentage in the NBA. They have the best field goal percentage in the NBA. They don't take a lot of threes, but they don't need to because they are so efficient in the mid-range, and they are so efficient in their short game that they don't need to do a lot of those things. So, we talk about, effective field goal percentage and all that, and why three-pointers are so important in this league. Well, if you're hitting, at a better clip than anybody else at twos, you don't need to take as many threes. So you have to limit that, and you have to hit threes tonight to compete with that.
So that's really what it comes down to. They got to hit threes and limit turnovers or points off turnovers. What else?
Yeah, and rebound. Second chance points. You got to dominate the offensive glass.
On a side note, I was happy to see the NBA rescind those technicals given to Julian Reese and Young Hansen in that game on Sunday. It was late in the fourth, and we were like, "What? Why did Hansen get a technical for being drugged to the ground?"
Yeah, and to be honest, I was only looking at it from Young Hansen's perspective. I was not looking at that at all from Juju Reese's perspective. So I don't really know what happened on his end, but just looking at it, it's like, how does Young Hansen get a technical there? And honestly, obviously, Juju Reese shouldn't have either. It was just going for a rebound, and you have two large human beings falling. It was a little much.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that the NBA can look back and be like, you know what, that was a little bit over the top, so we're going to change that. Well, I'm excited about the game tonight. But to be clear, I think I know where you sit on this. But for the Blazers to get to 8th and be part of the 7-8 playing game, more than likely it's going to require 2 wins against the Clippers, right?
So you'll find this out. Make sure you ask Tom Haberstroh about this tonight. I believe what he said is that if the Blazers lose this game, they have like a 3% chance of being the 8th seed. If they win this game, was it like a 49% chance of being the 8th seed, something like that? If you want to be the 8th seed, you have to win this game tonight, and you have to beat the Clippers at home next week. If you want to be the 8th seed, there's no question about it. You're going to be in the play-in, and you'll probably be the 9 seed if you're not the 8th. But if getting up to 8 is where you want to be, tonight is absolutely a must-win. If you lose, you are not going to be the 8th seed.
All right, that makes a lot of sense. Yes. Okay. Yep. It says, I'm looking at it right here from Tom. It says the Blazers enter Thursday's game 1.5 games back of the Clippers, making the matchup extremely important for playoff seeding. A win could be the difference in getting 2 bites at the apple for the playoffs. A number 8 seed would have the chance to win a spot where the number 9 has no margin for error. So, yeah, your percentages were correct. Yep. Yeah. They cannot lose tonight. Yeah, that makes sense.
Gotta win.
All right, Trav, you're going to be on the call. We look forward to it. What a game this is. Biggest game of the year thus far, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see how it unfolds.
I haven't had a game like this in a long time. I'm real excited for it.
All right, dude. Great talking with you, man. Thanks for your time, buddy.
You too, brother.
All right, there's Travis Demers, the voice of your Portland Trail Blazers. Love him. Rob Sipsky, you want to talk about one of the beauties of radio and why it's so important to me and why I do not want to see, a television simulcast used for the radio calls. It's the relationships, right? Because you listen to the radio and those voices help shape and are part of the soundtrack of your life. And that's what I love about talk radio, just the connection I'm able to create and the friendships I've had. Rob Sipsky would be a perfect example of that, where he and I, because of radio and our connection to the Blazers, we text back and forth and have conversations. And it's fun. We talk music, we talk basketball, we share thoughts with each other. And that's something that radio created. But he says, the radio team is one of my biggest concerns. As you recall, I was in PA when I discovered your show and the game with Travis. So it's pretty foundational. I wasn't a real fan before that, just a very casual watcher. So he's speaking my language there. That's what radio does, is it creates connections. Let's go out to another guy who understands the importance of radio. Let's go to Pat from Portland, one of our blind listeners who loves the radio. Pat, welcome back to the show, my friend. What's on your mind?
Well, you touched on one of the things I wanted to talk about. And, I've been here in the Northwest since the early 60s. And I know that listening to all the sports, Supersonics and then Portland and other places, radio paints beautiful pictures for people like myself or even the general public when we want to know more about what's happening on the court or what's happening with the team. All the little tidbits. We don't get that with TV. And TV, when I listen to a game on there, I'm lost. I really am, because a lot of times a play will be played and they don't go into detail of what really happened. They expect you to see it on the screen. And if you're not in the same room or you're blind like myself, well, you miss out. And it's a real disservice, I think, to the community. And I hope the new owner will hear that from all the Blazers fans and from you folks in the media, because it is a key thing we need to keep. And I hope the new owner will step up and in the future will bring us some players that we need, some veterans, maybe through free agency or trades or whatever. But I think we really do need to have a couple new veterans to take the place of a few guys that are sitting, getting injured, or like Grant and a few. Their years are numbered, and I think we need to find some good quality guys that can take their place.
Hey, Pat, you spoke about something really important there. So as a blind guy, you rely on the radio to paint the picture for you. If you were not listening to Travis, but you were listening to the television and Kevin Calabro, the experience for you would not be the same because he's not painting the picture that radio does for you. Is that right?
That's correct. And I know Kevin. I met Kevin up in when he used to do the Supersonics. And on the radio side, he did a lot more of play-by-play, of more telling you about the game, than he does now on the TV because of the restrictions that TV, plays in that marketplace.
All right. Well, Pat, I appreciate your thoughts. We'll continue to spread the message, and I always appreciate when you call, buddy.
Thank you. Enjoy the game.
There you go. There's Pat. You got it, buddy. You too. There's Pat from Portland. Travis will have the call coming up at 8 o'clock here on Rip City Radio 620. You can jump on board. I want your thoughts on the new owner. He is officially in charge now, Tom Dundon. He'll probably be on the broadcast tonight. Full press conference coming up on Thursday. You can hear live here at 3 on Rip City Radio 620. What do you want to see from the new owner? What do you want to hear from Tom Dundon? 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Hey, what you looking for? You can't stand the pain. This is such a great song. This is one of my favorites from Hall & Oates. Everything your heart desires. Don't you see the heartbeat? This was the first song that he performed on Live from Daryl's House. And when I first discovered that show online, I was like, what is this? And then all of a sudden he's like, this is one of my favorites. A song, a hit from the 80s, and then he burst right into this song. You have everything your heart desires. Such a great song. All right, what did Travis say? He said, you know how the Clippers played with James Harden? I know Michael Holton knew how James Harden played.
I mean, you get an early look at why James Harden is so difficult to guard. When he starts playing with that thing between his legs, you're so aware that he can pull up for a three that you don't gap up. And then when he goes by you, he forces the contact and gets fouled.
It's a shame that we won't see James Harden playing with that thing between his legs tonight.
I mean, you get an early look at why James Harden is so difficult to guard. When he starts playing with that thing between his legs, you're so aware that he can pull up for a three that you don't gap up. And then when he goes by you, he forces the contact and gets fouled.
Yeah! All right, so Blazers and Clippers coming up tonight at 8 o'clock. Again, if the Blazers are going to get to the 8th spot in the Western Conference play-in standings, they got to win 2 games against the Clippers. Travis gave the humbling news about their record against the Clippers since Kawhi went there. It's not good. It's very bad. 2 wins all-time against the Clippers since Kawhi Leonard arrived in Los Angeles. So, it's going to be a tall order tonight at Intuit Dome. But the Blazers, I think Travis nailed it. They're going to have to make threes, shoot a higher percentage from downtown. Rebounding is going to be critical. They must dominate the offensive glass with Donovan Clingan and produce on the second chance point opportunities, and then limit the points off turnovers the Clippers are able to get. The problem is the Blazers, they're so bad with turnovers right now that that's almost like whistling in the dark. We're going to hope for fewer turnovers. We're going to pray, and it's going to be like a Hail Mary. But they're turning the ball over at an alarming rate. I mean, they gave the freaking Wizards 19 points off turnovers. Might need to be better than that. The big story today, Tom Dundon is officially in charge, in control of the Trailblazers after being confirmed by the NBA Board of Governors, the other owners. So Dundon's in control. And he's got the big press conference coming up on Thursday here at Moda Center where he'll answer questions. The one thing I love about Dundon is that he appears to be a guy who's willing to speak and do radio, do television, and be visible. And I think that's great. I think it's a disservice to your fan base when the owner's not out in front, keeping everyone updated on what's going on. I don't expect him to be Jerry Jones, who's doing like weekly radio hits, which is amazing. But Tom Dundon will answer questions, and I respect that. And so I think that's going to be a good change. He wants to win. He's ultra aggressive. He's got a desire to, make sure that he puts an entertaining product on the floor. He's been successful in terms of wins and losses with the Hurricanes since he took over. And like I've said before, I'm not a complicated man. Does he want to win, and is he willing to use his resources and spend to make that happen? And if he is, I'm on board. That's where I sit on that. As a fan, does my owner want to win, and is he willing to put his resources in a position to make that happen? And if so, I can live with everything else, because every owner is going to make a mistake, or you make a bad decision on a player or a contract or whatever. Paul Allen was awesome, but he wasn't perfect. But if I know that their heart's in the right place, I can get behind anything. Because I want, again, simple man here, I just want a championship before I die. I don't know if that's going to happen. Over the last 20 years, I've assumed it's not going to happen. But I would like to have one championship here in the Northwest in Rip City before I die. Because it would be awesome to be able to walk Broadway and be at a parade and celebrate with all of you. And we could just be like, dude, this is as good. This is even better than we thought it was going to be. This is awesome. And frankly, I get tired of hearing about people share their experiences about 77. I was 2 years old. I'm glad that it happened, but I was 2. I didn't get to enjoy it or celebrate it or didn't even know who Bill Walton was at the time or what basketball was, for crying out loud. I want my own championship to celebrate, and then I can be the annoying guy as I share those stories about walking the parade route with you guys to all the youngsters out there as they are born and start growing up. And I can tell them about the good old days when the Blazers won their second championship. I want to be that guy now. That's all. I don't think that's asking too much, but Tom Dundon wants to win. And again, that statement that he released today, very simple in terms of explaining what he wants to do. Quote, "Today is the beginning of a new chapter for Portland Trailblazers as we build on the legacy of this storied franchise. On behalf of our ownership group, my commitment to this tremendous fan base is that we are going to be relentless towards building a team that can compete at the highest level every single season." Okay, that sounds good to me. Let's go for it. Let's get after it. Let's do this. So that's what I want. I want an aggressive owner that wants to win and is willing to utilize their resources to make that happen. And from everything I've read and what I've been told about Tom is that he is going to be a guy who goes over everything with a fine-tooth comb. He doesn't want to waste money, but he is willing to spend on the product on the floor. And I think his very basic view of sports is that it's entertainment and that you want to put an entertaining product on the floor so that fans, families, people want to show up and watch it. That makes sense to me. All right, 503-248-0620. Speaking of Bill Walton, here's a little Grateful Dead. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Big thanks to Travis Demers. Tip-off with the Clippers coming up tonight at 8. Chris Burkhardt will have game day at 7. And the Rip City Drive, I'm with you until 6. I've got Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday coming up at 5, so listen to me for your chance to win so you can see the Blazers at Moda Center before the end of the year with a couple more home games coming up. 503-248-0620 is the telephone number. You got the Rip City Drive. I'm live in Studio C right now getting ready for the Blazers and Clippers on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. All right, Tom Dundon has been confirmed and is now officially in control of the Portland Trailblazers as the new owner. In a statement released today, he said, "Today is the beginning of a new chapter for the Portland Trailblazers as we build on the legacy of this storied franchise. On behalf of our ownership group, my commitment to this tremendous fan base is that we are going to be relentless towards building a team that can compete at the highest level every single season." Dundon is expected to be on the NBC broadcast tonight, and there's going to be a full press conference Thursday at 3 from Moda Center that you can hear live right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620, as we kick off the Rip City Drive. Again, that press conference on Thursday. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday coming up at 5. Coach Splitter talked about the game tonight against the Clippers.
I told them right now to start to think about that. It's going to be the game, the most important game of the season. Start to think about matchups.
The Blazers are going to need 2 wins against LA to get the 8th spot in the Western Conference play-in standings. Your telephone number is 503-248-0620. The big topic today, Tom Dundon is officially in control of the Portland Trailblazers. He'll be in Los Angeles tonight for the game against the Clippers and Blazers. Tip-off will be at 8 o'clock. Travis Demers will have the call right here on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620.
Los Angeles.
So Tom Dundon's in control, and I want to know from you Blazer fans, what do you think about this? What do you want to know about Tom Dundon? What are you hoping that he says at the press conference on Thursday? What are your basic desires when it comes to an owner? I mentioned mine. Very simple. Do they want to win, and are they willing to put their resources in a position to make that happen? And if that's the case and they have a true desire to win, I'm all about that. Paul Allen was like that. I like owners that want to win and are willing to spend to do it. Not all owners do that, right? It's important. So I want to know what you think about Tom Dundon. We do have Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday coming up at 5. And if the Blazers hope to get the 8th spot in the Western Conference play-in standings, they're going to have to beat the Clippers twice over the next 6 games. Tonight in L.A. against the Clippers at Intuit Dome. And that next game will be at Moda Center April 10th, which is the game before the regular season finale against the Sacramento Kings. So you have one there and one back here at Moda Center in Portland. Let's go out to the phones. Mary wants to chime in. Mary, I appreciate the call. Thank you. What's on your mind?
Hello. Thank you, Chad. I appreciate you. I want, if you would please tell me, update on JG and what that situation is, if he's going to be playing soon or not. And what I'm excited for the new owner, and it sounds like he wants to win, and I guess more will be revealed if he's going to put resources there to make that happen. And me, I am blessed to be able to get to a few games during the year, but the accessibility to media, which is radio and TV, is important to me. I utilize both of them. I love that K2 Channel 2.2 broadcasts the game, and I can watch a full replay hours after, and listen to it live. And I appreciate Travis, and because I can really see in my mind what's going on. As the call-by-call or play-by-play calls happen. So I hope that continues the accessibility. And that's what I got on my mind. Thanks, Chad.
Oh, Mary, that's awesome. Great phone call. First off, with Jeremy Grant, I just know he's out for tonight. We haven't gotten the long-term, diagnosis or how long he's going to be out. But he had a pop in his calf in that game against Dallas on Friday. Based on what we know about calf situations in NBA players, I don't expect to see Jeremy Grant again this season. So I think it's unlikely that Grant's going to come back. And, Coach was asked about, that situation, life without Grant. How do you approach things?
Right now you have to. You cannot wait and just be, hoping that he comes back. And you got to just go with what you have and face those games like that, prepare, scout.
Yeah, so they're preparing for life without Jeremy Grant. And with the calf situation, I just don't expect him back before the end of the year. And if we're being honest, why rush him back? Take time to make sure he's healthy. The reality is the Blazers, let's say that they get through the play-in and they enter the postseason as the 8th seed. They're going to play Oklahoma City in the first round. Now, I love the Trailblazers, but I can tell you that the chances of them getting past Oklahoma City in a first-round playoff series would be, how shall we say this, slim. And I think you have to play the long game here with your players, whether it's Shaedon Sharpe. And a coach commented on him a couple of days ago and said that he's getting better, but he's not back on the floor yet. I don't expect to see Grant or Sharpe again this season. That's my guess. And the Blazers will have to, prepare for play, because what do we got now? And we basically have like a week and a half left in the season. And then the play-in tournament's right after that. I just don't think there's enough time to where Jeremy Grant's going to be able to reemerge and be a part of the team. Now, the good thing is he did say after that game, he talked to the media after he felt the pop in his calf and said he was actually not overly concerned because he was able to put some pressure on it. So that could be a good sign. But teams are just traditionally very cautious with those type of injuries because of the relation to the Achilles. So we'll see. But I don't expect it, but I could be wrong. But based on what I've seen from NBA teams and how they deal with players that have calf issues, yeah, I don't expect them back. Now, in regard to the radio broadcasts, the reason why we're discussing this and why Mary talked about the importance of having access to all the different forms of media to listen and consume the Trailblazers, one of the concerns that we have here in Portland is what he did in Carolina. He ended up, just basically removing the radio portion, and now he carries a simulcast of the television broadcast on radio. And as you know, let's use the Trailblazers for example. Kevin Calabro is a freaking stud. He's awesome. He's great at what he does. But if he's calling a TV game and you put him on radio, the quality, even though Calabro is great, is not going to be there because he's describing the action for a television audience who have the images. Radio broadcasts are totally different because you have to have the ability to communicate with the people that are listening to paint a picture in their mind of the action that's taking place. So obviously if you use a television simulcast that's meant for TV and you play it over the radio, the same quality is not going to be there. Now, the way I look at things is that if I were to own a sports team, I would want my team to be available on as many platforms as possible. I would want highlights on social media. I would want television broadcasts where as many fans as possible can access my games through television. And I would want quality radio broadcasts to be available as well. And that's because I'd want to grow my fan base as much as possible. And I want to reach out and connect with as many people as possible. And so that means I would make them available on radio. I would have television, and I would have social media. I would want as many ways possible for people to access my games with the best quality possible. But I also acknowledge that we're in a changing landscape now with the way games are consumed. So we'll see. We'll see what Tom Dundon's decision is and how he plans to handle that. But as I mentioned before, I'm excited about Tom Dundon coming in. I can't wait till he starts to put his imprints on the franchise. The guy wants to win. He's had great success with the Hurricanes in Carolina. This guy seems like he's kind of got some of the, those inner things that exist inside of me. I like young, aggressive, competitive individuals that want to win. That's appealing to me. So I like that. But on the business side, I have a lot of friends and people I'm really close with who work with the Trailblazers organization. Travis being one of those guys. Travis and I are like brothers, right? So, of course, I'm worried about him making changes with the broadcast team or going with the television simulcast. That's potentially devastating to a lot of people. So, of course, I care about that. I care about Travis a lot. I love Trav. So I worry about those kind of things. And then I also worry about the fans like Pat who are blind that need access to a radio call to be able to understand and have a good picture in their mind of the action that's taking place. And on top of that, I'm a radio guy who loves radio. I love listening to things on the radio. I love listening to sports on the radio. It's important to me. So there you have it. That's what's going on. I'm excited about Dundon, but at the same time, there are a lot of people worried and concerned who work within the organization because they don't know what changes are coming. And we've all been through that before. Anytime you work for a company and a new boss comes in, what is that? It's basically a grip session, right? You don't know them, they don't know you, and you don't know what's on their mind and what changes they're going to make. Am I going to have a job? Is my job going to change? What other duties am I going to have piled on top of me? All these different things that come up, people get scared about, right? So you can imagine what it's like for someone like Travis right now with the uncertainty. It's crazy. Let's go out to West Lynn. My man Paul is out there. Paul, I appreciate the phone call. Welcome to the Rip City Drive. What is on your mind?
Thank you, my friend. I have to be a little bit of a naysayer. I actually think we have too many options for media, and I think it makes it very complicated for the consumer, whether the sporting event is on Hulu for one special day or Amazon Prime or is it Peacock, NBC. It's too many options. I actually miss the days when you wanted the Blazers. You'd have Blazer cable for the home games, or you could always listen to the Shawns on the radio. And I know the interest is about money, but it's becoming too diluted. It's too much, I think. Just too many options that aren't consistent with how to listen or watch the game. As a consumer, I'm finding it increasingly more frustrated because I'm embarrassed that I'm kind of a Luddite when it comes to technology, but if I don't know how to stream something, I'm SOL.
What are your thoughts on a television simulcast being used for the radio broadcast?
I'm all for that. As long as it's on the same station 100% of the time, you don't have to get a one special pass for an internet show. If it's always going to be that way the whole year, I'm totally on board. But, like to see what Yankees Giants, I think that was that Hulu or I don't know. It's too many options. It's more commentary in society, right? There's just too many TV shows available as compared to when we were younger. And it's getting harder to watch things, I find.
Well, Paul, how do you normally consume Trailblazer games? Do you listen to the radio? Is it television, or is it a combination?
Television, unless, of course, I'm driving, than the radio station, which is...
All right.
Again, I'm old school. I'm your age. I was born in 76, and that's what I'm used to. But I'm not so facile on the internet and having all these different subscriptions and stream this and stream that. And I think it's actually watering down the product, I think.
Did you get an old school antenna to access the Trailblazer games?
Yeah, that's good. No, I didn't. But
how are you accessing the Trailblazer games?
AOL.
How are you accessing the games on TV?
I have cable. Okay. I have cable. I got Comcast. It's more of all the other sports like baseball or football. I feel like you have to have so many different platforms or devices or subscriptions to watch games, when sometimes more isn't always better. I think it was just so much easier if you knew it was going to be on NBC or TNT, for example, or Blazer cable. Otherwise, you couldn't watch it and you listen to it on the radio. Otherwise, you got to spend $14.99 for this month just to be able to watch this game, or forget to erase your subscription and I've been charged $14.99 in entirety until you remember to cancel it because you just want to watch the Blazer game or the Mariners game for that one time. That's all I'm saying.
No, I hear you, man. I appreciate the phone call,
money.
Paul.
It's all about the bottom line. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. No, I understand. I hear what you're saying. Yeah, Paul is one of those guys where he and I grew up in the same era where games were accessed through just a couple of channels. But now with the streaming applications, you can pick up games in all sorts of different ways. It is confusing. Life is becoming more difficult for sports fans in terms of access because of all the different streamers that are out there. I get that. 503-248-0620. That's why a lot of friends I know have used, how shall we say this, alternate devices to be able to access their games, to simplify matters. I think that's a good way to say it. All right, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. We're going to come back, and you're going to hear a very special conversation involving a big-time event coming up on April 24th. That's up next on the Rip City Drive. All right, the question is very simple. What do you desire in an owner? Like Tom Dundon's now officially in control of the Trailblazers. What would you like to hear from him in the press conference on Thursday? But more importantly, like what type of philosophy do you want? You know, I've shared mine, but I want to hear from you. And this really is a big change because we've had Paul Allen and his estate in charge for so long, most of my lifetime. Your telephone number here on the Rip City Drive is 503-248-0620. Let's go out to Lake Oswego. My man Mike is out there. Mike, appreciate the phone call. You're up on the Rip City Drive. What's on your mind?
Yeah, it's been a long time since we've spoken, Chad. How's it been?
Yeah, really well. I have had fun this year seeing some of the young guys grow. I'm enjoying work, and more importantly, I love it when we flip the clocks and get the longer days with better weather around the corner. So I'm feeling pretty good right now, brother. Thank you.
That's good. I'm excited about this move, and the reason being is ever since Paul Allen passed away, we haven't had somebody at the very top that's passionate about winning. And taking a look at what Tom has done with the Hurricane, he's a winner. He wants to win, and he took one of the worst franchises in the NHL, turned them around. They're one of the top winningest franchises the last 4 or 5 years. Their attendance is sellouts. Kudos to him. I applaud him, and I'm glad. Hopefully, he runs the Trailblazers the same way. But I am going to say this about the radio broadcast. Yeah. I grew up on Bill Schonely, and then as you get older, the Wheels was my man, and now that it's Travis, it's two different media ways to communicate. I love radio, and the beauty of radio is you can just picture the game in your mind as the radio analyst or radio guys doing their job and painting the picture. And that's exactly what Travis does. And we've got the best NBA play-by-play announcer in the league right here in Portland. And for us to think about eliminating that position is absurd.
I agree. That's absurd. No, I appreciate it, Mike. That's a good phone call. Yeah, right. There's no doubt about it. Putting a television simulcast on radio is absurd. And radio is the reach on radio. I know people laugh because radio, for some of the younger people out there, it seems, antiquated or outdated or whatever. But the reality is that I think the last number I saw, it's like 83% of all Americans listen to the radio. The radio is powerful because the reach is so massive. Like even the blowtorch for 620, it reaches all the way up to like Centralia, all the way down to close to Eugene. Is AM perfect? No, but the reach is incredible. And that's a lot of people that can listen, not to mention that the radio broadcasts for the games are also streamed on the free iHeartRadio app. So a lot of people are able to access through the app as well, which is great. And we're talking about people outside of Portland. I just want my team, if I owned a team, to be available to as many people as possible. That's it. Because I want to grow my fan base. I want to have a bunch of young little Chads out there who are like, whoa, what's this basketball thing? This is pretty awesome. I need this in my life. And then boom, they grow up with you. Sports is in my blood now. I can't get it out. I'm done. I love it. Let's go out to my man, Eddie. I love this guy. Eddie in Vancouver. Eddie, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Chad, man. Chad, I listen to you. I'm an everydayer. And, you talk all the time. And I just wish I was in the studio because I want to call in every day if I could. But unfortunately, I'm at work. I'm actually a custodian at the Washington State School for the Blind. And when I first started listening to the show, man, I worked at Burgerville. I worked at the Convention Center Burgerville right by the Motor Center. So, nice. And the reason I chose to work there, because, remember, I used to work at the Keg. And dude, I worked at some of the most.
Whoa. Wait a second. You worked at the Keg? You worked at the Keg restaurant? Yeah. Dude, I did too.
I know, Chad. I know. And
I know, but dude, what did you do at the Keg? But what was your job at the Keg?
I started off as a host and a busser, and then I eventually became a server. But dude, talking about like the day. Yeah.
Let's talk about the Keg for a second because, dude, my job, I worked at the one in Vancouver off 4th Plain, and so 2 nights a week I was a salad tender, so I had to dress up in the white suit with the hat, and I would make the spinach salads and the Caesar salads. Yeah. Yep. And then I had to tend the salad bar, which was massive. And then what sucked about the salad tending job was at the end of the night when you had to break up the ice on the salad bar with the bucket. Oh my God! And you had to, it was a pain in the ass, and then you had to make sure it was all clean and dry. Yes. Yep. Oh, and then your manager would come out and inspect it with he'd have like one of those like diamond jeweler like eye things, and he would be inspecting it with a fine tooth comb to make sure it was perfect. Brutal.
Yep. We were steakologists back then. I was a steakologist. But when I'm working at that Lake Oswego keg, man, Christie, Calvin Bryant, those are those days. Tracy Murray, I remember being in there. But I also opened the first All-Art in 91 where Drexler and Duckworth, man. Can you imagine busting Duckworth's table back then? But anyway, for real, 91. Chad, but so when I worked at Burgerville, that's when I started listening to you, and it was Travis and Chad, or Chad and Travis, either way. That's what it still is on my phone. So, and I got working at Burgerville, I got the luxury of talking to some of the players, but one of my most special guests that I talked to the drive-thru quite often was Brian Wheeler, man. Those Wheels. After some games, he'd pop in, and all he would give was an ice cream cone, man. But anyway, When he left, and I was like, who's going to take his place? And they said Travis Demers. I was like, Travis, no, man, come on, not Travis. And, dude, I listened to Travis and watched him grow. And guess what, man? I'm at work. I have a TV. I bought that antenna. I was like, I'm about to watch the game at work like this year. I don't even want to watch the game. I want to listen to Travis because he's that good. Picking up what Mike said, man, Travis is the best in the business, man. When Travis and Michael Holden are going, man. But Travis is amazing. We are so lucky to have him. He fits the mold, and that's the thing we're saying, man. I hope that our new owner realizes this is a Blazer family. You guys, all of us who liking the Blazers since we were, walking, old enough to walk, and I was born in '72, so. And matter of fact, I want to say this too because I wish Dwight James probably knew about this too. But when we were kids, like in the early '80s, man. We used to chase the police down. We used to see a police car in our neighborhood. We chase them, and they'd pull over. They'd get their car, go to the back, and get us some Blazer cards. You know what I mean? They have basketball cards, man. Good community, So I always loved the police, man. But anyway, Travis is incredible, man. And I've lost my train of thought here. Yeah, the Blazer family, man. This is a Blazer family. He has to realize that, and you. Doing your job every day, we all appreciate you. You guys are like the surrogates of bring us closer to the family, to the players and stuff. We use you guys to get through to them, and we need you guys, man. You guys come to work every day, dude. I'm stoked at 3. I get here at 3:30. I don't really start listening to 3:30, but it makes my day, man. And then when the music, when you go to commercial and it's something like the Danger Zone at the beginning, the have to do the thank you leg. I'm doing my guitar, stomp, you know what I mean? And, you guys have been getting us through the day, and through our shifts for so long, man. And, listen to the game at Burgerville. We listen to the game in the back, I can imagine the, grill guys listen to a Comcast, a TV telecast, of a game that just doesn't even sound fun at all. I would not be a fan at all if we got rid of the radio at Rip City. I would lose interest in the Blazers. That's what would happen.
Dude, I appreciate it, man. Great thoughts, buddy. And hey, I'm glad to know that we have a keg connection. You were a steakologist. I love that
absolutely.
So much.
Yep. Absolutely, 100%.
Did they have the washer and dryer in the back to wash the napkins?
You you have to fold your silverware. And back then too, the buses, man, you have to do bleach water. Remember that you got to pour litmus tests.
Brutal. Dude, when I was back there, I made my own croutons too. Like I'd cut up the old sourdough, and then you'd have to sprinkle the butter and the garlic and stuff on there, and then bake the croutons. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
That's hardcore. Hey, Eddie, you're the man, dude. I appreciate the phone call.
Man, thank you. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you. Keep it up. Good work.
I appreciate it. There's Eddie showing some love. 503-248-0620. Let's go out to George, who's in Portland. George, I appreciate your call, my friend. What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm a blind person, and the day the Blazers do away with the radio broadcast is the way they lose. The day that they lose me as a Blazer fan. Television does not do even justice to what radio does. Radio describes the game. Radio gives the score, and they don't have these inane interviews that take you away from the basketball game for 20 minutes of the game where you can't even enjoy the basketball. It's not even close. You got to keep radio. Blind people love radio. Blind people depend on radio. And Kevin Calabro, the guy doesn't give the score. That's the most. I remember Bill Shawnee used to say, they used to ask him, what's the most important thing about being a broadcaster? And he says, the most important thing is you won't believe it, but you have to give the score.
Yeah. Well, hey, now, George, do you listen to every single Blazer game on the radio?
I listen to every single game on the radio. I've tried tuning into the television, and it's awful. The television is awful. It's no good for blind people.
Hey, George, I appreciate the phone call, my friend, and I'm glad that you got your message out there. See, this is another example of why it's important to have your team available on all the possible mediums.
Yes, definitely. And it's got to be bad. It's got to be bad for the television advertisers because what I do is I turn off the TV as soon as I see they're not giving the score.
Yeah, that was one of the first rules. I appreciate the phone call, George. That's one of the first things that my boss, Don Koss, told me. He's like, make sure he had a deep voice. It was beautiful. It was Chad. Make sure you give the score out on a regular basis. People like that. Let's go out to Brandon. Brandon in Portland. Brandon, I appreciate the phone call. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Chad?
What's up?
I'm just calling in. I got to tell you, I'm in my 30s now, but I remember as a kid, when we didn't have access to the channels to watch Blazer games, I was listening to Wheels, as a, probably a 10-year-old. And I thought there's just something really cool about, the amount of time that he spent as a broadcaster. I remember I actually got to meet him in person at the year Blazers went to the conference finals. And that's my best Blazers moment of getting to meet in person. This guy was calling games that I've been listening to since I was a Blazer fan, and, on top of that, I think it's pretty clear that these television broadcasts, they don't, they're assuming that we are watching the game. So the information is just not going to be communicated the same way, and I mean, Kevin Calabro, for example, great announcer, but one thing I loved about Wheels, or one thing I loved about Mike Rice, was that these guys were at their core delusional Blazer fans, like the same way that I was. And there's something endearing about that,
No, I appreciate the phone call, Brandon. You're right. There's something about that that's nice. This right here is a perfect example of what radio can provide.
I guarantee you Carlisle will call time if the Blazers score here. They've hit their last 7 from the field. Here's Roy dancing his way left. Now against Kidd, backing him down, 10 to shoot. Roy across the lane, a jump hook, got it! Timeout Dallas! And Rick Carlisle is staggered, stunned, and stupefied. 8:27 remaining, fourth period of game 4. Do you believe in miracles? So it is a 4-point game again. 1:12 and the clock running. Roy had it poked away, got it back from Nowitzki. Now against Marion. Now he pulls up with a 3. Hit is fouled! Yeah! Marion fouled him! A chance to tie the game! 1:06 remaining! What a silly fall! And Roy, this time left no doubt! A 3-pointer and a chance to tie the game as Marion undercut him! Roy has it now against Marion. An all-NBA defender. Brandon gets past him. Jumper in the lane. Banks it in! Timeout Dallas! My eyes don't deceive, so I have to believe. 39.2 seconds remaining. This is simply incredible. The Blazers have come from 23 down and have a 2-point lead at 84-82. 14 seconds for the game. Miller trying to find Roy. Kidd overplaying. Miller still has it. Andre now, top of the key, throws to Roy. Brandon, 3 to shoot. Roy, a fadeaway out front from 3, missed it. Rebound, Kidd, 3 seconds. Goes ahead to Terry. Get on him, Brandon. A 3 for the win. Missed it, game over. Somebody's got to pinch me. I must be dreaming. In one of the most incredible games this building has ever seen, in one of the most incredible games this city has ever seen, the Trailblazers rallying from 23 down, closing the game on a 40-15 run, and they rally to beat the Mavericks 84-82. This best of 7 is tied at 2 games apiece, and once again we can say it's a great day to be a Blazer. And has there ever been a better day to be a Blazer? Unbelievable.
That's incredible. Brian Wheeler right there. That's vintage wheels. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Good phone calls today. Getting your thoughts on the importance of radio and what it means to you, but also what you're looking for in a new owner. And I'm with Mike in Lake Oswego. I'm excited about, Dundon's, desire to win, the success he's had in Carolina with the Hurricanes. And I think that competitive nature of his and his desire to win and the willingness to spend to make that happen, I think that's the right combination for a good owner. And that's what you want. That's what I want. Do you want to win? Are you willing to invest to be able to make that happen? And if that's the case and you're ultra competitive, then, what more could you ask for? There are fan bases who have ownership groups in charge whose main desire is not to win. They're just there to make a profit. You don't want that type of ownership group. Someone that's just looking to make money, like the Oakland or Sacramento or Las Vegas A's or whatever they're calling themselves now. You don't want that. Guys that are just slipping in the revenue sharing into their pocket, their fat-ass pockets, and then not trying to reinvest in the team. But Tom Dunnan's aggressive and wants to win. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. So I want to know. I want to hear from you. What do you want to hear from Dundon? What are you looking forward to? And what is your basic definition of a good sports owner? 503-248-0620. Chris Burkhart's got Blazer Game Day at 6. Tip-off in Los Angeles. Against the Clippers coming up tonight at 8 o'clock here on Rip City Radio 620.
me? Why don't they just let me eat? Don't need a dietitian, a diet-filled prescription. That's my prerogative. They say I'm lazy, I really don't care. That's my prerogative. They say I'm hefty, but I won't give a damn. Eating pork is how I live. Reporters ask me questions. Why'd I put on a few pounds? But they don't cook with butter. Really don't know the deal about a brother trying to grill a steak just right. Then 2 or 3 desserts before I call it a night. Everybody's writing all this stuff about me. Why don't they just let me eat? Tell me why. Don't need a dietitian, a diet-filled prescription. That's my prerogative. It's my prerogative. It's the food that I want to eat. It's my prerogative. I can eat just what I feel. It's my prerogative. No one can tell me what to eat. It's my prerogative. Cause what I'm eating, I'm eating for me. Tell me why can I eat my fries without all of the things that people tweet? Yo, eat it. Dip it in this. I can eat what I want.
All right, there you go. That Shacker played Bobby Brown to start the segment, and it reminded me of the Raymond Felton parody song, which I had right here at my fingertips. Eat my fries. There's nothing not funny about a professional athlete being criticized for being overweight and then getting upset because people are criticizing them for being overweight. Like, you know, I'm not into fat shaming, but when you criticize an athlete for being fat, you're not fat shaming. It's just criticizing them because, like, dude, like literally your number one job and objective as a pro athlete is to put yourself in the best possible condition you can be in so that you can perform your job at the highest level possible. And Felton, who is, I was talking about this with Trav. Who was it? Was it Trav? We were having a conversation about Blazers. Think of the ex-Blazers right now who are like the most hated ex-Blazers in recent history. And I think there were 3. We came up with 3. There's no question that Raymond Felton is one of them. Remember, he came into camp overweight, and the Blazers had given him like $10 million, and he was upset that people were questioning him about his conditioning. He's like, dude, you play point guard. Conditioning might be fairly important. I'm not sure. I'm not a pro athlete myself, but being in great physical condition as a point guard may be important for your job and to perform it at the highest level. And then, remember, he gave out his address and challenged the city of Portland to a fight. So that's an all-time classic, Raymond Felton. One of the other guys who's on the list, of course, is Gary Payton II, for obvious reasons. And then the only other Blazer I could come up with in recent history that has a checkered relationship would be LaMarcus. Now, LaMarcus, for me, I loved him. Great player, ultra productive, very reliable and healthy, played big minutes, and was automatic with the fadeaway jumper. Like, LaMarcus was great, but he had a deal to return, but ended up jumping and leaving and going to San Antonio. And there were people who were frustrated about it. So those are the 3 I came up with. But Felton is always going to be at or near the top of the list for most Blazer fans because of his act and the way he handled himself here in Rip City. Pretty bizarre. Telephone number 503-248-0620. A lot of good phone calls today, and I encourage you to call and chime in. We got Tom Dundon, who is now officially in charge as owner of the Trailblazers. And we're talking about what you're looking for in an owner. You know, what are the characteristics you want in the owner of your sports team, your favorite team? For me, I want a guy who wants to win and is willing to do whatever it takes to make that happen, and also is willing to utilize their resources to make sure that that happens. Like, that's a big deal to me. I would imagine the majority of fans are probably in the same boat, but maybe there's something else that's important to you. I'd love to hear it, 503-248-0620. So we're focused on that. And then also, this one's a little bit more personal for me, but concerned about the possibility of a television simulcast used for the radio. He did that with the Hurricanes. And, from everything I understand about Dundon is that while he's willing to spend on his players and make sure that he's got a great team, he is going to look over everything with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that there's no redundancy, there's no overspending or useless spending, and he's going to want to account for every dollar. And I understand that too. I don't have a problem with that. But one of those areas that maybe he doesn't understand the importance of is, radio and what that means to a community, how people connect to the team through the radio. We've heard from a couple of individuals who are impaired with their sight that rely on the radio broadcast to follow the Blazers. George told me that the day that they get rid of the radio broadcast and go TV simulcast is the day they lose him as a fan. And I understand that too. Radio calls are not television calls. They're different. And as great as Calabro is, if you were to use a television call on the radio, it's not the same, even if you got a great voice like Kevin Calabro. Let's go out to John, who's on hold. John, I appreciate the phone call. You're up on the Rip City Drive. What's on your mind?
Hey, I appreciate you playing the montage there from Wheels 10 or 15 minutes ago. As I got out of I was driving home. I got in the driveway, and it's good radio when I always say, and I'm biased because I'm old radio guy and play-by-play guy. And once you're a play-by-play guy, always a play-by-play guy. But it's good radio when you reach your destination and you got to wait till the bit's over before you get out of your car. So I had to listen to that montage that you played with Wheels. But that was, that was beautiful. And I just have to say, Tom Dunnan, the new owner, and the group that bought the Blazers, I think they'd be absolutely crazy not to continue with Blazer Radio. And obviously, given the history of Blazer Radio, right, and then just all the things that the Blazers have done with radio from a marketing standpoint and all that, I'm relatively new to this area, only in the last 10 years that I moved out here. But, I just have to say, it would be a tragedy to do away with Blazer Radio. Any NBA team to do away with radio, in my opinion, would be crazy because it's just.
Hey, John, where did you come from?
Beautiful. So, so here's an interesting thing. So I met Wills a little bit. So I was in the CBA back when the CBA was official developmental league of the NBA, and I was the voice of the Quad City Thunder, and actually. So when Dan Panaggio was the head coach and Mo Cheeks, so Mo was our assistant coach. Mo cut his, pro basketball coaching teeth with us the 93-94 season when Quad City Thunder won the CBA title actually that year. But wow. Mo was an assistant coach with us. Dan Panaggio was the head coach, and then of course Mo got the job out here as head coach and brought Dan out as an assistant. But, I worked with the Thunder for a long time, so I knew those guys really well. And, so I had some interesting – I got to call a couple NBA games back, but it just didn't work out, all right? Some things happened, and I had to kind of jump off the train. But, it's local radio is just is a lifeblood for I think for any professional sports team, and it does offer something completely unique and different from what – and I love Calabro too, but he's one of the all-time great TV play-by-play voices. But to do a simulcast would be crazy. And I grew up in Chicago area listening to Jim Durham call games. Right, I had the privilege to work with JD was the best. I had the privilege as I got older. It was the 1993 CBA finals. The games were televised on then. I don't know if you remember, but. Prime Channel Sports Channel America, and
yes,
and JD did the play-by-play. The first 4 games, check out this line now. Bill Walton, Jerry Tarkanian together did the color, and then I did the. Awesome. I was the sideline reporter.
That's awesome.
And then,
awesome.
Yeah, and then after that, I think those guys had other responsibilities, and then we had Marcus Johnson and Nate Lieberman Klein did the color. So Walton, speaking of, obviously Portland Trailblazers and what a peach of a guy. Like, I can't even tell you what that experience was like working with him. And that was the beginning of his sportscasting career. And man, do we miss him. I miss him on those games, the Well,
Me too.
obviously we missed the Pac-12 too. But anyhow, I digress. So yeah, here's a vote for local radio. Blazers got to keep Travis and whoever's doing the call on the local radio. You got to keep that going separate.
All right,
from
hey.
TV simulcast.
Hey, please call again, John. That was a great phone call. I appreciate you, my friend, and hopefully we'll talk again in the future.
Sounds great, Chad. Thank you.
There you go. There's John, former play-by-play man himself. He said, quote, TV simulcast on radio is crazy. All right, when we come back, we'll head down to Mexico. Bill, who I believe is a big Blazer fan, will join us next. I want your phone calls, and we got Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. I got a pair of tickets for the New Orleans Pelicans game coming up on Thursday. We'll give those away coming up next here on the Rip City Drive. All right, Trailblazer Ticket Tuesdays coming up next on the Rip City Drive. Just listen to me for your chance to win a pair of tickets for the Pelicans game coming up Thursday here at Moda Center. Tom Dundon has been confirmed, now officially in control of the Trailblazers as new owner. In a statement today, said today is the beginning of a new chapter for the Portland Trailblazers as we build on the legacy of this storied franchise. On behalf of our ownership group, my commitment to this tremendous fan base is that we're going to be relentless towards building a team that can compete at the highest level every single season. Dundon expected to be on the NBC broadcast tonight, and there's going to be a full press conference coming up Thursday at 3 o'clock. Here from Moda Center, you're going to hear it live on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. We'll kick off the Rip City Drive with that. Travis Demers is going to have the call tonight. Tip-off at 8. Chris Burkhardt has game day starting at 6. Blazers and Clippers. Portland is 1.5 games behind L.A. for 8th in the Western Conference playoffs. We'll have to beat them twice in the final 6 games to get to 8. All right, we're going to have Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday coming up in a few minutes, so listen to me for your chance to win. We got a pair of tickets to give away for the game Thursday against the Pelicans. Today we're talking a lot about Tom Dundon. He is now officially in charge as owner of the Trailblazers, released the statement today that I mentioned during the update, and I want your thoughts on what you're looking for in a new owner as he takes over. And this is a big change because Paul Allen and his group have been in charge for so long, most of my lifetime. I moved out in 87. Paul Allen's pretty much been in control ever since. And so this is a new day, a newer era in Rip City. So I want your thoughts on, what you're looking for in a new owner, what you're hoping to hear from him in this press conference that's coming up on Thursday. And we've talked a lot about the possibility that he, may consider utilizing a television broadcast feed for a radio simulcast. That would be a major change. So Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday coming up here in a couple of minutes, but let's go out to the phones. Good phone calls today. I really enjoy it. 503-248-0620. Let's head down to Mexico and bring on Bill. Bill, I appreciate the call, my friend. What's on your mind?
Hey, Chad, you are just the best. You don't know just how hearing your voice for my wife and I, 2,400 miles south of Portland, what it does for us on every time we tune in. So thanks for all your excellent, superb, hard work. We really appreciate it, Chad.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that so much, Bill, and I love that I can connect with you guys ever since you moved down to Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely. We were up in Portland about 3.5 weeks ago, and we had our kids got us tickets to the Blazer game the last night we were there, and I came down sick, so my grandson went with Jackie. And they just had a blast. So
that's awesome.
In any event, we subscribe to NBA TV. We watch every freaking game all year long, and I'm excited about this new ownership group. Let's see what they can do. Let's see what changes they can make. And one of the changes they should make is to put you on a broadcast team, television broadcast team, Chad. It'd be fantastic. Okay, to get to the team, I got to be honest with you, Donovan Clingan drives my wife and I crazy sometimes. His inability to hang on to the ball when it looks like he's got it, and then at the rim, sometimes 2 or 3 shots. Yes, I know he's ranked 3rd in the NBA in rebounds and all that stuff, but I gotta tell you, he frustrates us a little bit, but you know what? He's growing into himself, and he's going to be a force in the future. And couple other comments. This team is just so exciting to watch, Chad. I mean, the youth, other than Holiday and Jeremy, who were two central pieces to this team, I mean, they are athletic. They can run. They are. And to Lonnie, what he's blossomed into this year, it's just been fantastic. But to shut up, Chad, thank you for what you do for all the Blazer fans out there, including us. It's just delightful to hear your insight and analysis. That's really what I've got today, Chad. I'm just feeling grateful about the Blazers are going to stay. They've got a good owner, and they've got a great foundation. What do you think?
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, I like the foundation a lot. In fact, that's one of the things I'm most excited about, especially with the play of Kling. And you're right, the last couple of games, he's missed a couple of cheapies down low that gives people a little heartburn. But I have noticed, with the young core, Denny Avdia, who I think is what I'm most excited about, because of his emergence into a all-star type player. That's great. Tamani Kamara continues to be an Iron Man. I think there's great promise with him. And Donovan Clingan has been tremendous. His growth from year one to year two, I mean, every aspect of his game he's improved upon in terms of rim protection, three-point shooting, minutes played because his conditioning is better. He's now in that situation with the pick and rolls out on top where he's diving at the rim, which is great. So he just continues to grow. And so when you look at the young players, even Scoot Henderson in this past game on Sunday, you can see flashes of what he's capable of. So I think young talent is exciting. And when I see those guys play, as they continue to shape this roster, you got to feel good about things because the young core is strong, which is awesome.
I completely agree. We're going to sign off now, Chad, so you can get to other callers. But, boy, it's an exciting time to be a Blazers fan on the verge of a playoff appearance. So
that's right. It's coming up.
Blazers. And thank you for all you do, Chad.
You got it, Bill. I appreciate it, man. Give my best to your wife. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. Let's go out to Raider Mike. Raider Mike wants to chime in. What's up, Raider Mike?
Dude, Jody sold the team?
The team is sold. Tom Dundon is now in charge as owner as of today.
Hell yes. And I called in the perfect time. It's been a couple months, bro. Anyway, Jody can go buy penguin skills and giraffe bones. Just stock her closets with them, man. It's horrifying what she did. Now, we got some... Is he a hitter? Tell me about him, Chad. Is he a hitter? We're going to win.
He is a... Well, here's what we know about him. He wants to win, so he's very competitive. And what he's done with the Carolina Hurricanes since he took over, they've had a lot of success on the ice. So in terms of if I'm a Blazer fan today, I feel good about, yeah, he wants to win.
About time. And this young squad, I'm going to watch. Why is it? I hate East Coast, Chad. It just sucks being out here. Because 11 o'clock, I'm going to try and make it. I'm 60 now, Chad.
I know.
Well, I'm with you. I got to sing. I'll have the adrenaline going. Because I'll have that singing in me. Go out to the car at 11 o'clock. Done singing, guys. I'm watching my Blazers.
No, Mike, I was having this conversation with someone the other day. I think that West Coast sports viewing is the best because for NFL games, they kick off at 10 o'clock in the morning. Sunday Night Football starts at 5. Monday Night Football starts at 5. And NBA games start at 7 o'clock on the West Coast. I just think that West Coast, being on the West Coast, if you're a sports fan, in terms of the times in which they play the games, it's optimal.
It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's fantastic. I'm going to move to Vegas eventually, bro.
No, I'm with you.
I bring my singing talents there, and I love the desert anyway. So anyway, love the show. Good news, Blazer Nation. Jody's gone. Goodbye. Jody got
there you go.
her girl and gone.
All right, Raider Mike, appreciate it, buddy. Raider Mike's excited. The 971 does bring up a very valid point. Raider Mike just said it's been a couple of months since he called in. He actually called into the show yesterday. That could be an indication. What time is it on the East Coast? 8 o'clock? 8:11 on the East Coast. So it's quite possible that Mike may have had a couple of beverages before he decided to bust off a phone call to the show. That is possible. It's likely, I would think. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. And we're going to do it right now. Let's see here. What's a good number? I'm looking at the number 8 right now, so we'll go with 8. Right now, if you would like to go to the game on Thursday with the Pelicans and Trailblazers, it's a Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday, courtesy of your Portland Trailblazers and me, because we care about people. Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. Caller 8 right now gets a pair of tickets for the Pelicans and Blazers. 503-248-0620. Call now. 503-248-0620. I want to hear from a Blazer fan. It is your show. You take it over. All right, call now. 503-248-0620. Call now, and you'll get a pair of tickets for the Blazers and Pelicans here at Moda Center on Thursday. And that's going to come after the Tom Dundon press conference, which will be at 3 o'clock. 503-248-0620. Call now for your chance to see the Blazers and Pelicans live in person here at Moda Center. 503-248-0620. We'll keep things rolling. Great phone calls today. I appreciate the interaction. You got the Rip City Drive on your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Blazers and Clippers tonight. Tip off at 8. Travis DeMerso will have the call for you. All right, what a pleasure this is. My good friend and one of my favorite coworkers in the building from 105.9 The Brew. It's Beefwater, Casey Bay in the house. What's up, my brother?
What's up, man? It's nice to be back in here in this nice, fresh studio you got going on.
I know. It's like total chaos, and it's funny because with all the construction going on, I'm sure you guys have experienced this in the morning. I got dudes in like hard hats and orange shirts walking in mid-show.
Yeah.
Hey, is that outlet on? I'm like, I'm only trying to do radio here.
Yeah.
Don't worry about me.
Yeah, that's what they. We have a little bit of reprieve in the morning. They're not supposed to technically fire up anything until 10 a.m.
I got like jackhammers and all kinds of stuff.
I'm talking 10:02. It's ripping. And I came out of the studio the other day, and they were working in the room behind us, and I just stood in the doorway until they noticed me, and I go, "Hey, man, we're trying to do a radio show next door." And the guy's face went white. He didn't know if he was in trouble or not. And I go, "You're good. We're all right."
Just messing with him. I love that so much. But it should be good once the building is done. You're the one that gave me the tour and what to expect and what they're trying to accomplish. And so now that I can visualize it, I'm like, good. Do all the work you need to do because when it's done, it's going to be nice.
It's going to look so good when it's done.
Everyone talks about Motor Center needing a facelift. We needed a facelift.
We did
out
need
here.
a facelift. We had the worst carpet in Portland.
Worse than the airport carpet, man.
No, I mean just stain-wise. It looked like we had squatters in here.
I don't want them to ever take a blue light over that old carpet and know what's on it.
No.
The DNA would be unreal.
Especially on the fourth floor. You know, there was some get-togethers up there.
It would be worse if they took a blue light over the carpet here in our building than it would like over one of those bedspreads in a seedy motel.
Ooh,
guaranteed.
Yeah, the Motel 5. Just the blue stain. Look like camouflage.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. You sent me the note, and you did it last year. And what I love about last year's Autism Walk, and for those of you who don't know, Beefwater and myself, we both have sons who have autism. And so you and I have lived our entire lives, or at least the last several years with our sons, trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of days where it doesn't make any sense at all. And the weird part about autism, and maybe you can relate to this, I'm sure, but when I first found out that Isaac had autism and he was diagnosed, I didn't even know what the hell it was. I'm like, what's going on with this? And then I freaked out because I'm like, great, my son's not normal. I don't know what this means. And I spent the next couple of years just trying to accept it. And then once I accepted it, then you start to dive into the information, and then you realize how much people still don't know about autism.
Yeah. It's man, I would say that's pretty similar to the boat I was in. We also, I mean, our kids are pretty close in age too, so we came in a time where there's more information now than there was then.
Yeah,
there's more help than there was then. We came up in a time where there was no information unless you had a diagnosis, and getting a diagnosis was trying to find the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
Like it was a very tough thing to do. We were parents that were on a waiting list to be on a waiting list to see the grand poobah that would give you the official diagnosis.
Yeah.
And then insurance would play ball. Until then, it was the glorious words of out of pocket. Like you just paid, we were paying several $1,000s a month, just in behavior therapy and everything that you need to try and get some sort of handle on it while your household is melting down on a daily basis.
Yeah. Occupational therapy, behavioral therapy. We've done it all with Isaac too, and it's difficult.
Yeah.
And the household, as you and I have laughed about, and I'm not joking about this, ever since Isaac's been born, not one normal, quote normal, whatever the heck that means, holiday.
Yeah.
Everything is difficult because of you have to set everything up to make sure that your autistic child has success. And if there's too much stimulation or too much going on, or they get uncomfortable, or if you derail from a plan that they had accepted, and then you're going to get chaos.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head, and that's it. Like, it takes one little blow of the wind, and your day is not going to go the way that you hoped it was going to go. And that everything, like what gifts that, your grandparents give the kids gifts, and they don't accept it like they hope. And so it's just a sea of hurt feelings for years on end, until everybody finally just like comes to terms with like, this is just how it's going to be. It's the Wild West.
Yeah.
And all we can do is, try and embrace it and do the best that we can.
Dude, you're so funny about the hurt feelings. Like, there were several years that my mom would cry after Isaac would open up his Christmas gifts.
It just is what it is.
He opens it up and then looks at it and he tosses it aside and goes right to the next gift. And it's like, it's not that he doesn't like the gift he just opened, but he's got to go through the process of opening the gift.
Yeah, and you better hope they don't change the package. You didn't buy the green box instead of the white box. Like, whatever it is, because they will tell you, this is not the one I asked for. What's going on?
Well, you finally came to this decision last year because you told me about it. And I think I've arrived at the same point where you're like, I want to do something. You weren't really sure what it was, but you knew you wanted to do something to bring attention and raise awareness for autism because you wanted to help people out there, families who are dealing with the same things that you are. And that's when you kind of came up with the organic idea of walking.
Yeah, this is what happens when you shoot your mouth off in a meeting. Is what happens is you go, hey man, I would like to do something, like maybe a walk or something, and then your boss comes and says, okay, by the way, you're doing that in 10 days.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly how it went down. I had an idea. It came out of my mouth. 10 days later, I was lacing up shoes and being followed by a news crew while I walked 10.3 miles from this building to the Moda Center.
From Tigard, right here at the corner of I-5 and 217, all the way down to Moda Center. And that was where you finished, right?
That's it. And I got greeted by, Douglas Fir and Blaze the Trail Cat and the Blazer Dancers and a marching band. And the news was waiting for me down there. And I felt like I did something.
Now, didn't you have people stopping by on your path? Because you were with Court Weber at the time. They were bringing you beverages and stuff. Who was that?
Yeah, Shake Shack. Shake Shack swung through. They came in clutch and they hooked it up. And yeah, that was all organic too. Like they just heard us talking about it on the air and they said, hey, we want to get involved in that. And that's how this has gone the entire time. So then this year we go, hey, okay, we're going to do it again. Yeah, we're going to up the ante. But we're having meetings with people about other things, throughout the year. We were talking, doing a toy drive for K103. And we were meeting with the folks at Jamba.
That's awesome.
And so, our managers are like, tell them about your walk. That was a neat thing that we did last year. And I did. And he, just kind of looked at me, when you can tell you connected with somebody and it's like, they're not saying nothing, but like you hit something.
Yeah.
And, he just looked at me and he goes, man, I got a nephew that's 7 that's on the spectrum.
Yeah.
And he goes, I want in next year.
That's great.
And I go, man, this is great.
Yeah.
And so he's in. He's going to be walking with me as well. And he's like, hey, dude, I'm going to match the first $1,000. Even better. That's great. And then I was up at doing an appearance at Car Toys in Tigard the other day. And talking to the manager up there. And he's like, this came up because, that we're in the planning phases of it. And he goes, so when's your walk this year? I told him. And he immediately puts it on his calendar and he goes, I'll be walking with you. He goes, I got a brother with autism. And he goes, I want to do that with you.
Really?
Yeah.
That's freaking awesome.
And so I just feel like as it keeps rolling and as I keep coming into contact with people, these organic relationships happen.
Yeah.
And I think people want to do something, but they don't know how. And not that they don't know how to do it, but where to begin to make it happen.
Yeah.
And we're lucky. We're in an industry that this is what we do.
Yeah.
And so I feel that it's a responsibility of my job to do it.
Yeah. And I think it's a great thing. And the cool part is by sharing our stories and what I've learned by talking about Isaac over the years, the same experience you had at Car Toys where you realize how many people know someone or have family members or have children that are on the spectrum.
Dude,
it's so much.
And that's exactly what happened. We drove last year's total by emotion.
Yeah.
And there's no two ways about it. I still, dude, I don't know if I'll ever not be emotional about it. I try to not be, and it's just really hard when I start talking about it.
You should be emotional because it's personal, It's like, think about, because it's because of your son and the connection you have with him and the work you put into it.
It's this weird duality, right? On one hand, I've had 2 decades of it. I've had my soul beaten out of me. I've had the toughest days I've ever known.
Yeah.
And I've survived that. And now my son's 20. It's still, it still has its times, but it's not like he was when he was 5 or 7. You know what I mean? Those juvenile years.
Horrible.
They will wreck your soul.
Yeah.
And I don't say that flippantly. It's everything that you can do to hold on to yourself and not get lost in it.
Yeah.
And not feel sorry for yourself or, I don't want any of that. I just want to figure out how to do it and give my kid the best opportunity I can. And yeah, man, it's just wild. So that happened. And dude, when they gave us a page that had a goal of $5,000 on, I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I was like, man,
how the hell are we going to hit 5,000?
Dude, I was hoping to get 500.
Yeah.
Right. But man, the day of that walk, people just got on board and dude, we were rolling.
Yeah.
And to get to where we hit almost $8,000 in 10 days was
freaking awesome.
It just makes me feel super good.
That's so great. What is the date of the walk this year?
We are the last Friday of the month, so April 24th. And yeah, I'll be taking off here at 6 o'clock.
But you're going longer this year, right?
Yeah, we're going to expand. And I would love to say this was my idea, but it wasn't. My boss is like, "Hey, you're going to go longer. You're going 17 miles this year." And I went, "Okay. Well, I mean, I'm down for the challenge. Nearly double. I don't know. I mean, the 10.3 I thought was going to wreck me last year.
Yeah.
And man, when I got out of bed the next day, I was feeling every mile of it. But what I've got going for me this year, I've been putting in miles already.
Oh,
so
good.
like
you've been training.
Yeah. So I have it's still going to be tough, but it's not going to be, and I'm nearly 20 pounds lighter than I was last year too.
That's great. So where's the pathway going to end? You're going to start here at the station again? And where are you going?
We're going right under the St. John's Bridge, Cathedral Park.
Wow.
So
that's a long ass walk.
It's a long ass walk. You're not lying about that, but I mean, that's the landmark, baby. It's
a great finishing spot though.
Yeah. And so I just got my fingers double crossed that we skirt the weather and we get a decent day like we did last year. And we continue to make forward progress on this thing. And last thing I want to do is make $200 this year.
You know what gets me emotional? Because I think back to the younger days. I remember one time I was going to the grocery store. I took Isaac with me. This is before I knew that he was autistic, right? And he started going crazy when we went through the automatic doors to go into the store with sometimes they have that air that blows down. We walked through that air, like it made a noise and he just started freaking out, right? Going crazy. It's like, waving his arms, going crazy at me. And so, I had to leave and go home because he was out of control. And I gave him a little swat on the bottom. And then, you find out that your son's autistic and you're like, great. I disciplined him when he had no idea or wherewithal what was going on because of his condition. I feel horrible.
Dude, I feel that way every time I lose my temper. And it doesn't happen very often. But I mean, just a few weeks ago, I got home. I wasn't home 10 minutes. You know what I mean? And like he was in a rough mood. And, you just try and do that. Hey, man, how you been? And you've just sat in an hour of traffic getting home. You've been up since the crack of dawn. And all you want is just 10 minutes with your kid to connect. And you're immediately told to get out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's just
get out.
There's no interest in anything.
They literally want nothing to do with
you. And dude, he just punched me in the face, and I lost it. And I mean, I feel bad that I yelled at him, and like those moments where like I feel like a failure, and but it's like.
Those are the most
difficult moments. You can't control those. Like, if anybody hits me in the face, like you're going to see a different side of me. You know, it's just how it is.
That's human nature.
So, but it's hard, man. And like I said, it's a weird duality because, like I said, on one hand, I've got 20 years of experience in this boat, and it seems like I would be accepting of it all, but it triggers me. And every time I talk about it, like it shows me that this is still surface deep.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll ever not be that way.
Yeah.
And it was a very painful experience.
Yeah.
It just is.
No. And the probably the best thing for me was, and this took a long time, but once I stopped expecting Isaac to be, to act like me or other people, and I just embraced him for who he was and the things that he enjoyed doing, that's when we started to have a better connection.
Yeah.
Still difficult day to day, but that's when I stopped placing expectations on him that were unreasonable, and that's when things got better.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. Like, you just have to take it for we are our own little unit, and we navigate under these conditions, and you do the best that you can.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like what we get is every parent gets a card to never stop worrying.
Yep.
We get a double issue.
Yeah.
Because you have to think about everything along the way. I got to think about when I'm not here anymore, how do I protect him? How do I protect his finances? How do I make sure he's not going to be taken advantage of in any way, shape, or form moving forward? And, we both have siblings too, right? So like your daughter, my daughter, sorry, part of this is going to fall on you, unfortunately. And that's just the way it is. But we live in a life where we will always have some sort of, somebody from the state overseeing things and inspecting our homes and making sure that we're providing a decent life for our kids.
And my daughter is now 16, so I've had conversations with her. I said, look, I know your brother's not nice to you most of the time, but she's very understanding to his condition and protective of him. And I said, look, I'm not trying to put extra pressure on you, but I said, there's going to come a point where I'm not here.
Yeah.
Mom's not here. He's going to need you.
Yeah.
And so that's a role, and I keep reminding him, like, hey, your sister's going to be an important part of your life, so you need to consider how you speak and conduct yourself with her, because she's going to be an important part of your life. And, you also come to the realization that Isaac is probably going to have to live with me or Mom or a combination for the rest of his life. He's probably not going to be able to live alone.
And our kids are old enough that they see their sibling living a freedom that they don't have. And, he sees his sister driving a car and going out and doing her things.
Yep.
And he knows that that's not something that he is doing.
Yeah.
And so he sees the differences. And I think the thing that hits me the hardest is he oftentimes refers to himself as a weirdo. He just goes, I know I'm a weirdo. And I hate that. I hate that that's his takeaway.
Yeah. And Isaac's the same way, because he wants to connect with people and have friends as much as possible. And the problem is, like, when he hangs out at a coffee shop or if he's at a store, he'll approach anybody, right? Because he was trying to connect with them. But because he is the way he is, some people will engage with him. Some people are put off by that. And so he's been asked to leave stores before, coffee shops, because people are uncomfortable around someone like that. And so I hate the fact that the world is set up not for people like our kids, right? Where they're shunned.
Right. And my son,
I hate that.
My son is 6'3", 230.
He's big, and Isaac's tall.
So he's a big dude. So people don't, like, when they're not thinking, and he doesn't look like, he looks like a typical dude.
Yeah.
But, like, it's people, when he acts out or whatever, they look at you like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And so that's it. So this is what we're doing it. Going to keep pushing. We're going to keep stepping, and we're going to do our part to, make acceptance a thing for families like ours. And my soft spot is for the young families that are just getting into it, that are just trying to figure out how to navigate it. And that's what I want to do it for them.
Well, you're great. I'm looking at the page right now. April 24th, Casey Beefwater Bay will, from Tanner Lauren Casey, the morning show on 105.9 The Brew, going to dust off his tracksuit and lace up his sneakers for the second annual Walk for Autism Acceptance. Love it. So where can people go? I would assume the events page at 105.9 The Brew.
Tomorrow at 8 o'clock, it's going to go live. Just go to 1059thebrew.com. You'll see it on the events page. And there'll be a link right there. And every nickel will go to Autism Society of Oregon. And
awesome.
Those people are great, man. You don't have to have a diagnosis to get help. You can reach out to them, and they will point you in the right direction. They will help guide you.
Yes, especially if you're one of those families like we were back in the beginning phases and you have no idea what's going on. They can help give you the resources to start your pathway forward, which is very helpful.
Absolutely. And it wasn't a thing for us. You know what I mean?
I didn't have it. I didn't have access to that.
So it's meaningful to me, and they were super appreciative. What we did last year was the biggest singular independent fundraiser that they had.
Yeah.
So that was awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. So it was, for a first year thing, to do what it did and to get the news coverage, it was huge. And I got my fingers crossed that we can do it again.
Well, dude, I mean this sincerely. I love you. You're a great friend and a phenomenal coworker, but this is awesome. And the good thing is you're going to check in on the show between now and the 24th to update us on where we're at with the total. Do you have a goal in mind, money wise?
Yeah, the goal is right now at $8,000. They put it up at $5,000 last year. We came in, I want to say 7,800 and some change. We were just short of $8,000. And so they're saying, hey, let's start there and see what's out. But the corporate sponsorship I'm excited about.
Who we got for corporate sponsorship?
Jamba and Car Toys right now. And look, if you all are looking for a tax shelter, you need to, you got some money that you need to put to get a tax credit for. This is your opportunity. And look, you want to feel good. This is the spot to do it. And I guarantee you, if you reach out there, it's not going to take you very long to find somebody that's affected.
Yes. So if you're out there listening and you want to contribute, and if you're a business owner or involved with a company that would like to jump on board and support Casey Beefwater's efforts here, just hit me up directly. You can email me at chaddoing@iheartmedia.com or just send me a text 360-281-5473, and I'll point you in the right direction to help support this. And Casey will update us before the 24th, and of course we'll talk after the walk. But I appreciate you coming in because this means a lot to me, and I love what you're doing. This
hey man,
is great.
I appreciate
and it means,
you. I
it's
appreciate
personal.
you
It means
doing
a lot to you,
yeah,
man.
like it's the coolest thing that I've done, and I love that we're getting an opportunity to do it again. It seems to be setting up for an annual deal, and so now, I mean, if they keep it up, I'm going to be walking to Canada.
Okay, that would be awesome. Now, out of curiosity, because I know Isaac, I'm curious to what your son's reaction was to you doing the walk last year and being on the news and raising awareness for autism. Did he care?
He
or
didn't
not?
care a bit, dude. He didn't care a bit. That's
classic.
I'll be quick. But so this year, I want to try and do some sort of T-shirt. So I was like, hey man, can you draw me a picture? It can be anything that you want. It could be a picture that you've already drawn. Like it doesn't matter. And he just looks at me and goes, what do you need that for? And I go, I just need it. It's just something I want. And he's like, I don't know. And when he says I don't know, that's basically no, right? And so
kind of like when your dad says, well, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing. And so I was like, all right, well, I'll give it 2 days and then I'll go back and I'll test the water again. And he goes, what do you need that for? And I go, I just want it. And he goes, I said no, just get it out of your head. And I'm like, all right, tough one. And then maybe a day later or so, he's like, so what do you want? And then he worked out. So anyway, I got it.
You got it.
He drew me a picture, so I'm going to figure out how to incorporate this into the T-shirt. But where I was
awesome.
going here is when I said, what do you need it for? I said, remember last year when I did that walk? And he goes, nah. I said, no, we went to Dick's and I bought that tracksuit, right? And he goes, oh yeah, I remember that. And I go, I'm doing that again this year. And we're going to try and raise some money for families like ours and get kids help that have autism. And dude, that's when he went and did it and brought me the picture.
Dude, that's great.
So that meant a lot that he put 2 and 2 together, because that's the hard part. Is I wish that he would be more of a part of it.
Yeah.
And that he understood what we're doing.
Yeah. Dude, that's freaking great, man.
Yeah, but
that's
he came
great.
around.
So you're going to wear a shirt with his artwork on it.
So that's the goal. Yeah, I want to get a shirt done that's got that on it, and try and figure out a way to, like, the first maybe 50 people that make a donation of, I haven't figured that part out yet. We'll get that.
Okay. Well, if you have a shirt, I will purchase whatever the price is. I would love to have one.
We'll make it happen.
That's great. All
Chad,
right.
thank you for your time, man.
You're the man. All right, we'll keep things rolling here. Dan.
All right, there you go. Hope you enjoyed it. That is Casey Bay, Beefwater from 105.9 The Brew. And he's going to walk for a very, very good cause. And I want you to support him. All right, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. We'll come back. I'm live in Studio C right now. The Captain Rich Patterson is hanging out. We've got the Trailblazers and Clippers coming up at 8 o'clock. Travis Mercer will have the call. And we still have time if you want to jump on board and share your thoughts. We've talked a lot about Tom Dundon today. The potential choice he might make to go with a television simulcast over the radio and the impact that would have on Blazer fans. But also, more importantly, what are you looking for in a sports owner? You know, we've had the same owner or ownership group for an extended period of time, and now it's a new era here in Rip City. As Tom Dundon is in control of the team, he'll be in L.A. tonight for the game against the Clippers and expected to be on the NBC broadcast. All right, 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. You got the Rip City Drive here in your home of the Blazers, Rip City Radio 620. Congratulations to Chris, who was our ticket winner from today for Trailblazer Ticket Tuesday. All right, Chris Burkhart is with me. He's got Blazer Game Day coming up at 6 o'clock. What do you got planned for the show, my friend?
Well, obviously, got to talk about this game. It's the biggest one of the year to this point, and even if they don't get through it, there's still a lot to play for, Chad.
So what do you think is the key tonight? Is it turnovers? Is it three-point shooting? Is it rebounding? All of the above? What do you think? What is it going to take for Portland to get the win?
Hey, I got to give you credit. In that last game, you talked about not making dumb passes, passing the ball too much. What did Tiago talk about after the game? They didn't play hero ball. They didn't try to make hero passes. You got to do that again. Just make the smart pass, limit the turnovers, and that is how you stay in this game.
I don't remember what Shacker said. Are we supposed to get out right now? What's the plan?
He's taking it to the streets the whole time, out at 54 as normal.
Okay. Gosh, I'm so confused. I have no idea what's going on. All right, so I agree, and he actually talked about that. Take a listen to this. This is Tiago Splitter on after the game against the Wizards talking about better passing.
So imagine there's a back door and there is very tiny space to get the ball in. Sometimes we try too much. Or in transition, there is a pass, but there's a small gap where you want to try to pass the ball and you go for it. So sometimes it's great, it goes in, looks awesome, but there's a lot of times where we miss that pass, or they deflected or stole the ball, and I call those hero passes. Like, it's look good when you get it through, but it's a bad transition coming back to the other team. So.
There you go. He's right, man. I think sometimes the overpassing or just trying to get too cute with the delivery of the pass can be a problem.
No, and you hit the nail on the head because you said that's what they need to do ahead of that game. They did. Had far below 14, so 3 less than their average in turnovers, and it was what allowed them to turn that game around. So that's how they stay in the game tonight. Limit the turnovers.
I didn't know this until Travis told me this earlier. Since Kawhi joined the LA Clippers, the Blazers have 2 wins against them.
That's pretty brutal.
All right, Chris Burkhart's got Game Day coming up next. Tip-off will be at 8 o'clock with Travis Demers on the call. You guys have a good night. Great phone calls today. I appreciate you. Game Day with Burkhart's up next.